Hi, I'm Jonathan Davis. My photo business is called Jonathan Davis Photographic. I've been a pro photographer now since 2007. So here we are, Christmas time 2019. So that's 12 years that I've been trying to figure out which way to take my business, whether to work with just weddings, whether to do portraits, whether to go commercial, and then whether to go video. Many decisions over the times. I cut my teeth on a Praktica MTL3 100 years ago. It was a great camera, built like a tank, totally manual, but it was a great camera. Then in my 20s, I took the advice of the magazines, and at the time, the Nikon was the best DSLR, the one I could afford, so it was a D60 I think it was, with a kit lens. And it was great, so I had that for years and years and years. Anyway, the time came that I could take my photography, my passion, to be my business. Just the circumstances in my life just gave me that opportunity. So I actually did spend some time. I spent a year working with a wedding photographer, and she was great, she was amazing. And she was using Nikon as well, so I was quite keen to look at that and see what was going on. She was shooting, and I bought a Nikon D200. The lens, the key lens for it was the 1755. It was an f2.8 right the way through, which was an important factor. Every time you're even thinking about doing weddings, you need a fast lens, because you never know what kind of dark church you're going to get into. So always looking for something with the best ISO capabilities and a fast lens. So as time evolved, I got myself into full frame cameras, and I got myself the 700, D700. I love Sigma lenses as well. So I got this 7200, again f2.8 right the way through the full range. It's a DG lens, absolutely fantastic, brilliant all the way through, never let me down. As time evolved, I got myself a D800. I used to shoot weddings with a guy as well. He was a Canon user. He was shot with a 5D Mark II. So when I had my D700, I was jealous. I was jealous of him. But when I got my D800, his comments were, "Who needs 36 megapixels? That's ridiculous." But the bottom line is, this camera has been fantastic. Those 36 megapixels, you get used to being able to crop down if you want to. I do an awful lot of commercial work now, so you can kind of shoot wide and crop as much as you want, and absolutely fantastic. The tank of the lens, which is the 24-70 Nikon f2.8 right the way through, absolutely incredible lens. It's been brilliant all the way through, right up until I mentioned the word video. And one of my customers, who I was taking photographs for, of kitchens and various building projects that he was talking about, he wanted me to do some videos for him. And I'm kicking and screaming, I did a video. I really didn't want to, but I created a video for him using the D800. I really wasn't that happy with it. It was not a great camera for doing video work. So I thought, I need to look around. So I got myself a Panasonic AC AG90 camcorder, and it was great. I got quite some work with this. It was quite robust. It developed some great results. Sound quality was absolutely brilliant, running it straight into the camera. It had an XLR slot going into it, and it really was great sound. So as time progressed, I was using that as the main camera, or the main video camera as it were. These two were obviously my main still cameras. The D800 was the backup or the extra angle for a video, which is obviously sometimes right, and sometimes you want to do to just give it that bit more of an bit more to it, obviously, like, you know. So, which is something I haven't got going here because I'm just running with one camera, because I've only got one camera spare apart from this one here. So more will be revealed soon enough. But once you buy a camera, you buy into a system. So Nikon camera, Nikon lens, Sigma lens for Nikon, 50mm Nikon lens, Sigma, can't remember what this size this is, Sigma 12 to 24 wide angle, not used that very much at all, it's almost brand new. The SB800, the SB900 and the SB910 flashes. So Nikon through and through with some Sigma glass in there. But where am I going to go with video? Until quite recently, you know, Nikon just weren't touching video. Not really keen on wanting to go the Canon route because I've had so many arguments with Canon users over the years. Just look a bit vague on my face. So I had the Panasonic AC90, AC90. Started to look at reviews a while ago, and everybody was dazzling about the GH5. So I looked at GH5s and I thought, wow, that's fantastic. So about 2 years ago, got myself a GH5 with the Leica glass and love it, absolutely love it. I wouldn't say it's the best photography camera in the world, because it isn't. But I've taken it on holiday. We've got some prints on the wall which came from the GH5, and they really are pin sharp, and we love them to bits. But as a video camera, this GH5, we can run this lavalier microphone. It's going straight into the top of it now, and it's fantastic. So where do I go to? I've got 4 cameras that I'm using, and it's just ridiculous. I need to just have 2 cameras. I've got a camera, I mean, people have said to me when I've gone to do some video work, could you take some stills for us as well at the same time? And I'm thinking, well, no, because I've just got the GH5 and I haven't got any flash guns for the GH5, and I've just got the LED lights that I use for video. So no, not really. So these are getting old. This got dropped, unfortunately, this year. And it's got a crack in the case down here somewhere. So to change the battery, I have to prise it out with a screwdriver, which is a pain in the backside. So I will be talking to my insurance man very soon about that one. So the time has come to kind of get these 4 cameras down to 2. How am I going to do that? So YouTube, isn't it amazing? You can learn so much off YouTube. It's just incredible. I have watched so many hours YouTube. I'm amazed my iPad is still working, because the time I've spent on YouTube looking at all of the different people from all over the world saying that this is the best camera in the world. Fantastic. You need to get the Sonys. You need to get the Canons. What about the Fujis? Oh, what about the new Nikons? And oh, the Lumix systems. What about those? And so, wow. Yeah, quite a lot of choice to go for. So, obviously, my considerations are, point number 1, it needs to be a high-res stills camera, because it needs to be, I've been used to 36 megapixels with this, and it wants to be a better stills camera than the D800. I was always going to get the D850, but because I'm doing so much more video work now, that's not really the right way to go for me. So it kills me, because ever since that camera came out, I always wanted a D850, but it's not the right camera for me now. So lots of people have said, go to the Sonys, go to the Sonys. So I started to look at the Sonys. I've got a couple of pro photographer friends and one of them, he's got the A7 Mark III. He said it's fantastic, it's amazing, the quality of the stills and the video, it said it's fantastic. Don't step out of the menu, because as soon as you step into the menu program, or don't step off your settings, because as soon as you step into that menu program, you're lost for half an hour. And I thought, what, seriously? But apparently he was struggling a lot with that menu system. So then I started to look at what other people thought about the menu system, and lots of people are struggling with the Sony system. So I was doing some video work once, and a guy there had an A7 Mark III. So I thought, oh, can I have a go? Yes. And I thought, yeah, this is quite nice. Quite small, but quite nice. He'd got a kit lens on it. I can't remember what lens it was. But it was okay. It was quite nice. He'd got a kind of guard around it, like a moulded bodyguard, which seemed to kind of pad it up a bit. Anyway, it was time to hit the shops and go and start looking at cameras. So it was then time to try and look and feel these cameras for myself. That's the key. You can only look at so many reviews. You've got to feel and you've got to play with them yourself. Off to Chester, off to what was Camera Solutions in Chester, which is now called Wilkinson Cameras, which is a chain that's taken them over. And unfortunately, despite the fact that they said Sony, 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 they never had one to show me. A bit disappointed in that, but they are a gold level supplier. I needed to go to Liverpool to go and look at their pro stuff, which they keep in Liverpool. Tripped across to another camera store in Chester, London Camera Exchange. Again, Sony, Sony, Sony. And good store. I've bought a Canon camcorder in the past. Yes, you heard me right. I've bought a Canon camcorder way in the past to see the family growing up. So yeah, we've got some fond memories for that one. But I had a go of the A7 Mark IIIR. I used the G-Master lens, the 2470 and the 7200, and they also put a 35mm lens on, which tiny little thing. But there was one thing I found, having been used to these things, built like a tank, very robust, working in all kinds of weathers, working in all kinds of situations, I felt that this A7 Mark IIIR was just too small for my hands. And every time I touched the camera, I was touching a button on the back. And I didn't like that. It's so easy to knock a setting out. And this is something that lots of the other YouTube channels have been talking about, how easy it is to just push a button and you're lost inside a menu system, which takes you 20 minutes to get out of. So I asked them, have you got a Nikon I can look at? Have you got a Panasonic I can look at? No. So off to Liverpool we go. Across to Wilkinson Cameras in Liverpool. And there I wanted to look at the Z7, the Nikon Z7. Again, sticking it next to that same Sony A7 Mark IIIR. The A7 Mark IV was also there to look at as well, so we looked at that one. And of course, the other one to look at was the Panasonic S series. Now, as I've said, if you're going to do this for a living, or if you're going to do this even, on a permanent kind of basis anyway, you need robust. I've dropped this thing, but it still works. It's got a cracked case. It still works. It's been soaked numerous times. We've been up the mountains. We've been absolutely everywhere, me and this camera, absolutely everywhere. And it just keeps delivering results. And on one weekend, I can remember doing a horse show on a Friday. No, sorry, that was a Saturday. A horse show on the Saturday. What was I doing on the Sunday? I did a wedding on the Sunday, and I did another pro job on the bank holiday Monday. So 3 days in a row that you're pumping 500 shots out of it, time after time after time. And they just keep delivering. And that's what you need from a pro level camera. So where am I going to go? Do I think this Sony is up to the task? well, I hate to say it, but it felt flimsy. And there's so many other things that you see about the weather sealing of the cameras. The A7 Mark IV has got so much more better weather sealing than the Mark III. And you think, well, really? So I looked at the card slots, and it really was not very, very good at all, the weather sealing on that. I was quite disappointed. So, which way did I go? I needed, like I say, more than 36 megapixels. I wanted fantastic video footage. I have the Nikon lenses, obviously we're looking there. I've got 3 pieces of the creative lighting system, Nikon's creative lighting system, which work together beautifully. Do I want to go in that direction? And I looked at the Z7 and it was a bit small for me. Again, it felt tiny after this robust thing. So, which way did we go? Well, bam, bam, bam. We went for the Lumix, the Panasonic Lumix S1R. It's got to top the 36 megapixels, which this does with a few to spare. It's got to have great video, which it does. It may not have the fantastic eye tracking that the Sony does, but this thing is built like a tank. You can throw a bucket of water on this, just like the Nikon D800s can. Wilkinson Cameras in Liverpool, they did me a great deal. They were selling the lens, because again, the lens had to be f2.8 right the way through, so I've got the 24-70 lens, f2.8 right the way through, like I said. That was £500 off in Liverpool, but the Wex store in Manchester had the body £500 cheaper, so they price matched it, and they did. I did feel a bit cheeky asking for it, but what the heck, you've got to get what you can. So they price matched it, they did me the whole thing. I needed it before Christmas so that I could practice and learn how to use it. Yes, there's a menu system, but it's nowhere near as complicated, and I understand the Lumix system from the GH5. So now my transition begins. These are going to go. I was a little bit disappointed that they never took them in part exchange, or never took the 700 in part exchange, but as it was pointed out to me, you know, these are well worked, well used, so fair dues. I'm going to sell them on eBay or one of those pawnbroker type shops that see what we can get. This is almost new, so that's probably the biggest loss I'll hit, but these things, they don't owe me anything, they owe me nothing. So where next? More lenses. I'm thinking long term to have the S1 as the main video camera and this S1R as the main stills camera, and they can back each other up. Get the 70-200 f2.8 right the way through, either in the Panasonic, which is like a certified, so we've got some beautiful glass here, or the Sigma, which they're making the same one, which is considerably cheaper, and still excellent quality. So, as I learn how to use this, I'll tell you more, and we shall be Lumix experts as we move forwards. Yes, we will. So, keep your eyes posted, and we'll have some great tuition pieces on this, me learning how to use it, and the flashes I've chosen to go with it. So stay tuned, and we'll show you some more. Okay, thanks for listening.